Okay, we're gonna start with Abdurrahman Sim. Read Abdurrahman. And once we're gonna have a meaning, as usual, and as we learn in the classroom, you're gonna read it for us. And I hope that I can finish the whole selection. I mean the reading for all of it right now, because at the upcoming session, we're gonna move with the sheet and we're gonna read it with each other. So we're gonna discuss it too. Start, yeah, Abdurrahman.
Yeah. Some people choose their dogs and some dogs choose their people. The Pinkley family had no say in the choosing of Love. He came to them in the second way and very decisively. It began in the beach, the summer when Sandy was 5, Don her older brother 12, and the twins were 3. Sandy was really Alexandra because her grandmother had a beautiful picture of a queen in a diamond tiara. Tiara means a piece of metal in the shape of half a circle decorated with jewels, and a high collar of pearls. It hung by Granny Bear's kitchen sink and was as familiar as the doormat. When Sandy was born, everyone agreed that she was living bit of the picture, and so she was called Alexandra, and Sandy was for short. On this summer day, she was lying peacefully reading a comic and not keeping an eye on the twins, who did not need it because they were cubed, and seeing which of them would wrap the most seaweed around the other one's leg. Father Bingley and Don were up on the hard, painting the bottom boards of the boat, and in which father went fishing for bilchards, and Mother Jean Bingley was getting ahead with making the Christmas puddings because she never felt easy in her mind if they. Christmas pudding is a sweet dark fruit containing dried fruit.
Keep reading for us to the end of the sentence. I mean, you're gonna read till, okay, till affairs, dear Abdurrahman. Yeah, come on. Keep
Tell
reading.
what, Mr. Afirzi? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Weren't made safely but away by the end of August, as usual, each member of the family was happily getting on with his or her own affairs.
Thank you so much, dear Abdurrahman. That was really wonderful from you. Moving to Yusuf Abu Rad. Once I'm gonna ask a person, yes, to read. Yeah, good, good, yeah, Yusuf. Yeah, let's start. 20.
Little did they guess how soon the state of things would be
Raise
changed
your voice, man. I can't
new
hear you. Mhm.
by the large new number who was going to erupt in the midst. Sandy rolled onto her back to make sure that the twins were not climbing on slippery rocks or getting cut off by the tide. At the same moment, a large body struck her forcibly in the midriff, and she was covered by flying sand. Midriff means the part of the human body between the chest and the waist. Instinctively, naturally, she shut her eyes and felt the sand being wiped off her face by something that seemed like a warm, rough, damp flannel. Damp means slightly wet,
Perfect.
flannel, a small cloth used to wash the body. She opened her eyes and looked. It was a tongue. Its owner was a large brown sea young Alsatian, a large brown dog and a large brown and black dog, or a German Shepherd with topaz eyes, a transparent yellow, black tipped prick ears, and a thick, soft coat, and a brushy black tipped tail. Lob shouted, a man farther up the beach. Lob, come here. But Lob, as if trying to atone for the surprise he had given me, went on licking the sand off Sandy's face, wagging his tail so hard while he kept on knocking more clouds of sand. His owner, a gray-haired man with a limp, having an injured upper leg, walked over as quickly as he could and seized him by the collar. I hope he didn't give you a fright, the man said to Sandy. He meant it in play. He's only young.
Thank you so much, dear Yusuf Abu Rad. We know that, my dear boys, right now we are diving into the heartwarming and emotional short story of Lob's Girl. We know that, and we did that before, and we understand that it's a touching tale about the powerful bond between a young girl named Sandy and a loyal dog named Love. But this isn't just another dog story. It's filled with suspense, love, and tragedy, and even a hint of the supernatural that happened at the end of the story, right? By reading the story right now, and in the upcoming session, I'm going to discuss with you the plot, the character, and the theme. Ali, now we're going to keep reading. Ali Ahmed.
Me?
Yes, Ali.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh no, I think it's beautiful, said Sandy truly. She picked up a bit of driftwood and threw it. Lob, whisking easily out of his master's grip, was after it like a sand-colored bullet. He came back with the stick beaming and gave it to Sandy. At the same time, he gave himself, though no one else was aware of this at the time. But with Sandy too, it was love at first sight. And when after a lot more stick throwing, she and the twins joined uh, father and Don to go home for tea. They cast means looked many a backward glance at Lob being led firmly away by his master. I wish I could play with him every day, Tess sighed. Why can't we? Said Tim. Sandy explained, because Mr. Dodsworth, who owns him, is from Liverpool, and he is only staying at the Fisherman's Arms till Saturday. Is Liverpool a long way off? Right at the other end of England from Cornwall. I'm afraid it was a Cornish fishing village where the Pengelly family lived,
We have
with rocks and cliffs.
Mr. Mahdi, pay attention, okay? Yeah, keep reading, yeah.
What?
We have Mr. Mahdi right now with us in this session as a visitor. Keep reading, yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Mahdi. Where did I stop?
Fine.
Right at the other end of England, I'm afraid. It was a Cornish fishing village where the Pengley family lived, with rocks and cliffs and a strip of beach and a little round harbour and palm trees growing in the gardens of the little whitewashed stone houses. The village was approached by a narrow, steep, twisting hill road and guarded by a notice that said low gear, 1.5 miles, dangerous to cyclists.
Thank you so much, dear Ali. And you mentioned that this is the turning point in the story itself. Welcome, Mr. Mahdi.
Foreshadowing.
Thank you. Yes, good, yeah. Now I'm gonna move to another one. This is gonna be Salim. Your turn now. Salim, can you share us, please? Huh? Karam Samir? Can you? Muhammad Atif for a minute for me. Okay, Muhammad Atif, you can read. No problem. Salim?
Yes. You wouldn't give me the option to open the mic.
This for all of you, by the way. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Yes, this is your turn.
The Pengelly children went home to scones with Cornish cream and jam, thinking they had seen the last of love, but they were much mistaken. The whole family was playing cards by the fire in the front room after supper, when there was a loud thump and crash of china in the kitchen. China, cups and plates made from clay. Scones, a small round cake-like bread made from flour and milk.
Perfect.
Thump it. My Christmas puddings, explained Jean and ran out. Did you put TNT in them then? Her husband said. But it was Lob, who, finding the front door shut, had gone around the back and bounced in through the open kitchen window, where the puddings were cooling on the sill, a flat piece of wood. Luckily, only the smallest was knocked down and broken. Lob stood on his hind legs and plastered Sandy's face with licks. Then he did the same for the twins, who shrieked from joy. Cried. Where does this friend of yours come from? Inquired Mr. Pengelly. He's staying at the fisherman's his owner is. Then he must go back there. Find a bit of string, Sandy, to tie his collar.
Keep reading for us, Yasmin. Wait a minute. Yeah, till the end of Harper.
I wonder how he found his way here, Mrs. Pengelly said, when the reluctant club had been whining with and Sandy had explained about the afternoon's game on the beach. Whining.
You have it. To make a long, hard, sad sound.
To
Right?
make a long, high, sad sound. Fisherman's arm was right around the other side of Harper.
Thank you. Sam, wait a minute for me, please. Good job from all of you now. Yes, Karam Sam right now. Do you have the ability to unmute yourself? Wait a minute. I think you can read now. I made it by the way for all of you. I don't know what's wrong. Karam, I can't hear you. Karam, Khalid Saad.
Hello?
Karam, I can hear you now, but you have to raise your voice a little bit. Okay? Yeah, come on, man. From here. Lob's owner scolded him. Karam, I can't hear you. I'm getting you back.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, right now I can hear you, man. Yeah, start, man. Lob's owner.
Love's owner scolded means blamed him and thanked Mr. Pengelly for bringing him back. Jean Pengelly warned the children that they had better not encourage Lob anymore if they met him on the beach, or it would only lead to more trouble. So they dutifully means doing everything that you should do, dutifully took no notice of him the next day until he spoiled their good resolutions by dashing up to them with joyful barks, wagging his tail so hard that he winded, turned Tess, and knocked Tim's legs from under him. They had a happy day playing on the sand. The next day was Saturday. Sandy had found out that Mr. Dodsworth was to catch the 9:30 train. She went out secretly down to the station, nodded to Mr. Hoskins, the station master, who wouldn't dream of charging any local for a platform ticket, and climbed up on the footbridge that led over the tracks. She didn't want to be seen, but she did want to see. She saw Mr. Dodsworth get on the train, accompanied by an unhappy-looking glob with drooping ears and tail. Then she saw the train slide away out of sight around the next headland, with a melancholy wail.
Yes. Huh?
Wail. Wail means a long, high, loud cry.
And
That
usually it means sad or even gloomy, right? Yes, keep reading.
Yes. That sounded like Lob's last goodbye. Sandy wished she hadn't had the idea of coming to the station.
Yeah.
She walked home miserably, with her shoulders hunched and her hands in her pockets. For the rest of the day, she was so cross and unlike herself that Tess and Tim were quite surprised, and her mother gave her a dose of senna.
Thank you so much, dear Karam. As we can see right now, she's very, very sad. This time, Khalid sad. Khalid? Khalid, are you there?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Khalid, come on, man. A week passed.
A
Start.
week passed. Then one evening, Mrs. Pingley and the younger children were in the front room playing snakes and ladders. Mr. Pingley and Don had gone fishing on the evening tide. If your father is a fisherman, he will never be home at the same time from one week to the next. Suddenly, history repeating itself, there was a crash from the kitchen. Jean Pingley leaped up, crying, "My blackberry jelly!" She and the children had spent the morning picking and the afternoon boiling fruit, but Sandy was ahead of her mother. With flushed cheeks and eyes like stars, she had darted into the kitchen, where she and Lob were hugging one another in a frenzy of joy. About a yard of his tongue was out, and he was licking every part of her that he could reach. Good heavens! Exclaimed Jean. How in the world did he get here? He must have walked, said Sandy. Look at his feet.
And this reflected that he is a very loyal dog to her. Keep reading.
They were
Immediately, okay?
worn,
Still good meal.
okay, worn, weaker, damaged, dusty and tarry, very dark black. One had a cut on the pad. They ought to be bathed, said Jean Pingley. Sandy, run a bowl of warm water while I get the disinfectant. Disinfectant, a substance which contains chemicals that kill bacteria.
Perfect.
What we'll do about him, mother? Said Sandy anxiously. Mrs. Pingley looked at her daughter's pleading eyes and sighed. He must go back to his owner, of course, she said, making her voice firm. Your dad can get the address from the fisherman's tomorrow and phone him or send a telegram. In the meantime, until something expected happens, he'd better have a long drink and a good meal.
Thank you so much, dear Khalid. Anas, are you there? Anas, yes. Your turn, man.
Yes, mister.
Well, I need to hit you from 120 till 400-mile walk. Okay? Yeah, let's start.
Lob was very grateful for the drink and the meal, and made no objection for having his feet washed. Then he flopped down on the hearthrug and slept in front of the fire they had lit because it was a cold, wet evening. With his head on Sandy's feet, he was a very tired dog. He had walked all the way from Liverpool to Cornwall, which is more than 400 miles. The next day Mr. Pengelly phoned Lob's owner, and the following morning Mr. Dodsworth arrived off the night train, decidedly put out to take his pet home. That parting was worse than the first, Lob whined. Don walked out of the house, the twins burst out crying, and Sandy crept up to her bedroom afterward and lay with her face pressed into the quilt, feeling as if she was bruised all over. Jean Pengelly took them all into Plymouth to see the circus and the next day, and the twins cheered up a little, but the hours ride in the train each way and the Liberty horses performing seals could not cure Candy's sore heart. She need not have bothered, though in 10 days' time Lob was back, limping, this time with a torn ear and a patch missing out of his furry coat, as if he had met and tangled with an enemy or two in the course of his 400-mile walk.
Thank you so much, dear Anas. Thanks a lot, dear man. Moving to Hazim. Morning, Hazim. Morning, dear.
Yes, mister.
Good morning. Yalla Kamo from 140 Bird Tingley.
Bert Bingley rang up Liverpool again. Mr. Dodsworth, when he answered, sounded weary. He said, "That dog has already cost me 2 days that I can't spare away from my work, plus endless time in police stations and drafting newspaper advertisements. I'm too old for all these ups and downs. I think we'd better face the fact, Mr. Mr. Bentley. That's your family he wants to stay with. That is if you want to have him." Bert Bentley looked. He was not a rich man, and Loeb was a pedigreed dog. He said cautiously, "How much would you be asking for him?"
Hazim. Still well on that. Okay? Yeah, let's start.
Good heavens, man,
Yeah.
man, I'm not suggesting I tell him to you. You must have him as a gift. think of the train fares I'll be
Maybe
saving.
because the money has
You'll
been
be
received.
doing
Yeah.
me a good turn. Is he a big eater? Bert asked doubtfully.
Doubtfully, yes.
By this time, the children, breathless in the background, listening to one side of this conversation, had realized what was in the wind and were dancing up and down with their hands clapped be- beseechingly.
Beseechingly, yes.
Oh, not for his size. Lob's owner assured Bert 2 or 3 pounds of meat a day and some vegetables and gravy and biscuits. He does very well on that.
Thank you so much here, Hazzy. محمد عاطف. Ready. Good right now, don't worry. يلا محمد.
Yes.
Morning, dear. Yeah. So,
Alexander's father looked over the telephone at his daughter's swimming eyes and trembling lips. He reached a decision. Well then, Mr. Dodsworth, he said briskly, we'll accept your offer, and thank you very much. The children will be overjoyed, and you can be sure Lob has come to a good home. They'll look after him and see he gets enough exercise. But I can tell you, he ended firmly, if he wants to settle in with us, he'll have to learn to eat a lot of fish. So that was how Lob came to live with the Pengley family. Everybody loved him, and he loved them all. But there was never any question who came first with him. He was Sandy's dog. He slept by her bed and followed her everywhere he was allowed.
keep reading, Muhammad. Still, you've got to deposit here.
9 years went by, and each summer Mr. Dodsworth came back to stay at the Fisherman's Arms and call on his erstwhile dog. Lob always met him with recognition and dignified pleasure, accompanied him for a walk or two, but showed no signs of wishing to return to Liverpool. His place, he intimated, was definitely with the Pengleys. In the course of 9 years, Lob changed less than Sandy. As she went into her teens and he became a little slower, a little stiffer, and there was a touch of grey on his nose. But he was still a handsome dog. He and Sandy still loved one another devotedly.
Thank you so much, Muhammad Atif. Mohab, your turn, man. You ready? Mohab,
Yes, Mister.
morning, dear. It okay?
Good.
Yeah, let's start
Yes.
here. One evening.
One evening in October, all the summer visitors had left and the little fishing town looked empty and secretive. It was a wet, windy dusk when the children came from school. Even the twins were at high school now, and Don was a full-fledged fisherman, completely developed or trained. Jean Pengelly said, Sandy, your Aunt Rebecca says she's lonesome because Uncle Will Hoskins has gone out trolling. And she is and she wants one of you to go spend the evening with her. You go there, you can take her homework with you. Sandy looked far from enthusiastic.
Once you have a period, you need to stop a little bit, okay? يلا Mohab, read for us also this page all of it.
Can I take Lob with me? You know, Aunt Becky doesn't really like dogs. Oh, very well, Miss Pengelly sighed. I suppose she'll have to put up with him as well as you. Reluctantly, Sandy tidied herself, took her school bag, put on the damp raincoat she had just taken off, fastened Lob's lead to his collar, and set off to walk through the dusk to Auntie Becky's cottage, which was 5 minutes up the climb up the steel hill. The wind was howling through the shrouds of boats drawn up on the hard. Put some cheerful music on, do, said Jane Pengelly to the nearest one. Anything to drown that wretched unpleasant sound while I make your dad supper. So Don, who had just come in, put on some rock music loud, which was why the Pengellies did not hear the truck hurtle down the hill to move very fast in a dangerous way and crash against the post office wall. A few minutes later, Dr. Travers was driving through Cornwall with his wife, taking a late holiday before patients began coming down with winter colds and flu. He saw the sign that said steep hill, low gear for half miles. Dutifully, he changed into second gear.
Thank you so much.
But
Thank you. Great job from you, by the way. Thank you. Muhammad Ahmed. Morning. Morning, Muhammad.
Yes, mister.
Yeah, let me start from we must be nearly there. So that's why.
We must be nearly there, said his wife, looking out of her window. I noticed a sign on the coast road that said the fisherman's arm was.
Wait a minute. It's moving down to you. Yes.
The fisherman's arm was 2 miles. What a narrow, dangerous hill, but the cottages are very pretty. Oh, Frank, stop. There's a child. I'm sure it's a child.
What? Yes.
By the wall over there. Dr. Travis jammed on his brakes. Jammed means pushed, and brought the car to a stop. A little stream ran down by the road in a shallow stone culvert, and a half in the water lay something that looked in the dusk like a pile of clothes. Or was it the body of the child? Mrs. Travers was out of the car in a flash, but her husband was quicker. Don't touch her, Emily, he said sharply. She's been hit. She she ha- can't be more than a few minutes. Remember that truck that overtook us half a mile back, speeding like the devil? He quick go into that cottage and phone for an ambulance. The girl's in a bad way. I'll stay here and see what I can to stop the bleeding. Don't waste a minute.
Thank you.
Doctors are experts at stopping dangerous bleeding for they know the right places to press. This Dr. Travis was able to do, but he didn't dare to do more. The girl was lying in a crumpled heap. Uh, that means to fall down heavily and lie on the ground without moving. And he guessed uh, he, she ha- and he guessed she had a number of broken bones and that it would be highly dangerous to move her. He watched her with great concentration, wondering where the truck had got to and what other damage it had done. Mrs. Travis was very quick. She had seen plenty of accident cases and knew the importance of speed. The first cottage she tried had a had a phone. In 4 minutes she was back, and in six an ambulance was wheeling down the hill.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ida. Thank you. Take your time while reading it. Muhammad, no one is running after you. Okay? Thank you. Now I'm gonna move to Muhammad Hisham. Then Yusuf Muhammad. Okay? Yeah, Muhammad
Yes.
Hisham. Your turn, ma'am. Here. It's attendance. Yeah.
Its attendant lifts the child into a stretcher as carefully as she were made of fine sills down. The ambulance sped off to Plymouth, for the local cottage hospital did not take serious accidents, and Dr. Travis went down to the police station to report what he had done. He found that the police had already known about the speeding truck, which he had suffered from loss of brakes and ended up with its radiator halfway through the post office wall. The driver was concussed and shocked, but the police thought he was the only person injured until Dr. Travers told his tale.
Keep reading.
At half past nine that night, Aunt Rebecca Hoskins was sitting by her father, thinking
aggrieved thoughts about the inconsiderateness of nieces who were asked to supper and never turned up, when she was startled by a neighbor who burst in, exclaiming, "Have you heard about Sandy Pengelly?" And then Mrs. Hoskins, "Terrible thing, poor little soul, and they don't know if she's likely to live. Police have got the driver that hit her. It didn't ought to be allowed. Speeding through the place like that 80 miles an hour ought to jail him for life. Not that that'd be any comfort to poor Bert and Jean."
Thank you so much, Eva. Thank you. And now the turn is for, I said whom, I forgot, Yusuf Muhammad, right? Come on, Yusuf.
Yeah, hello?
Hello, morning. I can't hear
can you
you
hear
well.
me?
Yes. But try to raise your voice a little bit. Horrified.
Horrified, Aunt Rebecca put on a coat and went down to her brother's house. She found the family with white shocked faces. Bert and Jean were about to drive off to the hospital where Sandy had been taken, and the twins were crying bitterly. Lob was nowhere to be seen, but Aunt Rebecca was not interested in the dogs. She did not inquire about them. "Thank the Lord you've come back, Beck," said her brother. "Will you stay the night with Don and the twins? Don's out looking for Lob, and heaven knows when he'll be back. We may get a bed with Jean's mother in Plymouth. Oh, if I only never invited the poor child," wailed Miss Hoskins.
Yeah.
But Bert and Jean hardly heard her.
It's all because of her. Yes. Keep reading. Keep reading, Yusuf. Keep reading. That's good.
That night seemed to last forever. The twins cried themselves to sleep. Don came home very late and grim-faced. Bert and Jean sat in a waiting room of the Western Countries Hospital. But Sandy was unconscious, they were told, and she remained so. All that could be done for her was done. She was given transfusions to replace all the blood she has lost. The broken bones were set to put in slings and cradles. "Is she a healthy girl? Has she got a good constitution?" the emergency doctor asked. Doctor, she is that," Bert said hoarsely. The lump in Jean's throat prevented her from answering. She merely nodded. "She ought to have a chance, but I won't conceal from you that her condition is very serious, unless she shows signs from coming out of this coma."
Thank you. Thank you so much here, Yusuf. Yusuf Ibrahim.
Yes.
Start reading for us,
But
please.
as our succeed, our Sandy showed no signs of recovering consciousness. Her parents sat in the waiting room with haggard faces. Sometimes one of them would go to telephone the family at home, or to try to get a little sleep at the home of Granny Pierce, not far away. At noon next day, the doctor and Mrs. Travers went to the Pingley cottage to inquire how Sandy was doing, but the report was gloomy. Still in a very serious condition, the twins were miserably unhappy. They forgot that sometimes called their older sister Bossy, and only remembered how often she had shared her pocket money with them, how she read to them and took them for picnics, and helped them with their homework. Now there is no Sandy, no mother, no and dad. Dawn went around with a grey shuttered face and swore still. There was no law.
Thank you so much here, Yusuf. Thanks a lot, Sierra. We're going to stop here this time. In the coming session, we're going to finalize the whole selection and I'm going to be back to the sheet. Okay? And 30 minutes from now, I'm going to see you again, my dear friends. Thank you so much. Have a nice time. Bye-bye. We will keep reading right now till the end of the selection. Then we will move to the sheet for it. Okay? Khalid, can you keep reading for us, please?
From where?
Yeah, from the
Are we
beginning.
still?
We stopped here, by the way.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, from the Western Countess Hospital. Your turn, Khalid.
The Western Country's hospital is a large one, with dozens of different departments and 5 or 6 connected buildings, each with 3 or 4 entrances. By that afternoon, it became noticeable that a dog seemed to have taken up position outside the hospital, with the fixed intention of getting in. Patiently, he would try first one entrance and then another all the way around and then begin again. Sometimes he would get a little way inside, following a visitor, but animals were of course forbidden, and he was always kindly but firmly turned out again. Sometimes the guard at the main entrance gave him a pat or offered him a bit of sandwich. He looked so wet and beseeching and desperate. But he never ate the sandwich. No one seemed to own him or to know where he came from. Plymouth is a large city and he might have belonged to anybody. At tea time, Granny Pierce came through the pouring rain to bring a flask of hot tea to her daughter and son-in-law. Just as she reached the main entrance, the guard was gently but forcibly shoving out a large, agitated, soaking wet Alsatian dog. No, old fellow, you you cannot come in. You cannot come in. Hospitals are for people, not for dogs. Why, bless me! Exclaimed old Mrs. Pierce. That's Lob. Here, Lob, Lobby boy. Lob ran to her, whining. Mrs. Pierce walked up to the desk. I'm sorry, madam. You can't bring that dog in here, the guard said. Mrs. Pierce was a very determined old lady. She looked the porter in the eye.
Thank
Now
you.
see here,
Thank you.
young
Thank you.
man.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear Khalid. That's really wonderful. Ali, your turn. Ali,
Yes, mister.
you're gonna read from now, see here, and once you have a meaning, you have to tell it. Please? Yeah.
Okay. Now see here, young man. That dog has walked 20 miles from St. Killian to get to my granddaughter. Heaven knows how he knew she was here, but it's plain means obvious and clear to understand. He knows. And he ought to have his rights. He ought to get to see her. Do you know, she went on breasting to react angrily. That dog has walked the length of England twice to be with that girl. And you think you can keep him out with your fiddling? Fiddling means difficult rules and regulations. I'll have to ask the medical officer, the guard said weakly. You do that, young man. Granny Pierce sat down in a determined manner, shutting her umbrella, and Lob sat patiently, dripping at her feet. Every now and then he shook his head as if to remove something by force from a fixed position, something heavy that as if to disclose something heavy was tied around his neck.
Good.
Persistently, a tired, thin, intelligent-looking man in a white coat came downstairs, with an impressive, silver-haired man in a dark suit. And there was a low-voiced discussion. Granny Pierce eyed them, binding, offering her time. Frankly, not much to lose, said the older man. The man in the white coat approached Granny Pierce. It's strictly against every rule, but as it's such a serious case, we are making an exception. He said to her quietly, but only outside her bedroom door, and only for a moment or two.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Muhammad Muhammad, which really man. Hello. Good morning, Muhammad.
Yes, Mr.
And this is your turn to read the whole page, okay? Yeah, let's start.
Without a word, Granny Pierce rose and stomped upstairs, flowed close to her strides,
Sure.
as if he knew his hope lay with her. They waited to the green floored corridor
Corridor outside.
outside Sandy's room. The door was half shut, Bert and Jane were inside. Everything was terribly white.
Hmm.
A nose came out. The white-coated man asked her something, and she shook her head. She had left the door
Ajar.
ajar, and through it could not be seen a high narrow bed with a lot of jets around it. Candy lay there very flat under the covers, very still. He had was turned away. All that attempted was riveted on the bed. He turned toward it, but Granny Pierce clasped his collar
firmly. Good, Muhammad. Good.
I have done a lot for you, my boy. You have behave yourself, she whispered grimly. Lord let out a faint whine,
Anxious and pleading.
Good.
Keep reading.
At the sound of the whine, Sandy tried just a little, she said, and moved her head. The last fraction Lord went raging, and they turned her head right over, her eyes opened, looking at the door. Not the no more than a piece of sand, Lord boy.
Bobby boy, good. Thank you so much, Lima. Thank you. Now to the last page at last. After that, I'm gonna move to the sheet. Selim, your turn.
Yes.
Yeah, let's start now.
The doctor by Granny Pierce drew a quick, short breath. Sandy moved her left arm, the one that was not broken, from below the covers, and let her hand dangle down, feeling, as she always did in the mornings, for Lob's furry head. The doctor nodded, slowly. "All right," he whispered. "Let him go to bedside, but keep a hold of him." Granny Pierce and Lob moved to bedside. Now she could see Bert and Jean, white-faced and shocked, on the far side of the bed. But she didn't look at them. She looked at the smile on her granddaughter's face as the groping fingers found Love's wet ears and gently pulled them. Groping means to feel to feel with your hand, especially in order to find or move towards something when you cannot see easily. Good boy, whispered Sandy, and fell asleep again. Granny Pierce led Lob out of the passage again. There she let go of him and ran off swiftly down the stairs. She would have followed him, but Bert and Jean had come into the passage and she spoke to Bert fiercely. I don't know why you were so foolish as not to bring the dog before, leaving him to find the way here himself. But mother, said Jean Pengelly, that can't have been Lob. What a chance to take. Suppose Sandy hadn't. She stopped, with her handkerchief pressed to her mouth.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Yusuf. Muhammad Abdul Manan. Morning, Muhammad.
Yes,
Morning, dear. Are you okay?
yes.
Yalla, read.
Not
Very
not
minute.
Lob.
Very minute. Very minute. Read from I don't know. Hey?
I don't know why you were so foolish as not to bring the dog before, leaving him to find the way here himself. But mother, said jumpingly, that can't have been Lob. What a chance to take. Suppose Sandy hadn't. She stopped, with her handkerchief pressed to her mouth. Not Lob. I've known that dog 9 years. I suppose I ought to know my own granddaughter's dog. Listen, mother, said Bert. Lob was killed by the same truck that hit Sandy. Dawn found him. When he went to look for Sandy's school bag, he was dead, ribs all smashed. No question of that. And Don told me on the phone he and Will Hoskins rode a half-mile out to sea and sank the dog with a lump of concrete tied to his collar. Poor old boy. Still, he was getting on. Couldn't have lasted forever. Sank him at sea. Then what? Slowly old Miss Pierce and then the other two turned to look at the trail of dripping wet footprints that led down the hospital stairs. In the Pengelly garden, they have a stone under the palm tree. It says, Lob, Sandy's dog, buried at sea.
Thank you so much, dear Muhammad Abdullah. As you can see right now, my dear boys, we have already finished the whole selection according to the reading for it. And right now, we're going to move to the sheet for it. Of course, you have it. We're going to discuss it, and then I'm going to add some more information to you. Now, I hope that you can hear me well. Muhammad Ahmed, moving according to the list in front of me. So please stop raising your hands up because you changed the turn in front of you. Muhammad Ahmed,
Okay.
we're gonna be with each others for the 6 new vocabularies. What I mean
Okay.
by decisively, what of speech is it, and what is the meaning?
Decisively. Adverb in a clear, definite way.
In a very clear way, as you can see. What I mean by erupt.
Erupt is a verb to release one's anger or enthusiasm in a sudden way, noisy way.
Good. So here is to release one's anger, to soothe a person, to let him calm down, to release anger or enthusiasm in a sudden, noisy way. Okay, catch on here.
Aton, verb to seek pardon, to make up for.
Yeah, to try to ask a person to forgive you. Reluctant, number 4.
Reluctant, adjective, unwilling.
Yeah, unwilling. Melancholy, we mentioned it before.
Melancholy, adjective, sad, gloomy.
Yeah, or even depressed, by the way. Agitated here, the last one.
Agitated, adjective, disturbed, upset.
Yeah, disturbed, upset, or even annoyed. Thank you so much here, Muhammad. I move to the genre and theme. Okay, moving to another one. This time I am going to take, what am I for me? Yusuf Abu Rad. Good morning, Yusuf. What is the genre for this selection and what does it mean?
A short story. A
Yeah.
short story is a short story is a popular form of writing. It is a work of fiction that includes a few characters with a single setting, time and place, a simple plot, events, and a conflict problem.
So here, as you can see, my dear boys, in a short story, we must have setting that include both time and place, a simple plot, a group of events, and also we have a conflict. Conflict is like a problem that we're gonna have or face in the selection and how it will be solved at the end. What about the theme for this short story I used?
Theme: the power of love and loyalty.
I think that
Love and loyalty.
the loyalty between both Love and Sandy was so clear to us. Keep reading.
Love and loyalty are what bind the characters together in face of a catastrophe.
Catastrophe, which means disasters. Okay. Thank you so much here, Yusuf. I think, my dear boys, in this selection, we have the main character is Sandy Pengelly, and she is a kind and brave 12-year-old girl who forms a deep connection with a dog named Bob. Before moving to the literature terms, I'm going to talk about the main characters. And we have also Love, which is a large dog, loving German Shepherd. It's more than just a pet. He's loyal, determined, and mysterious. Also, we have here in the selection Mr. and Mrs. Pengley, and they are Sandy's caring parents, and Bert and Jan Dodsworth, Lob's original owner. Good. Now, we mentioned that before, we have the plot. The plot, it has, as you can see, the events of the story. According to the plot here, you know that Sandy first meets Lob at the beach when he runs straight to her, almost as if fate brought them together. After that, Lob keeps returning to her, no matter how far he's taken away. But one day, tragedy strikes. How Sandy is seriously injured in a road accident, and so is Lob. What follows, and what we had read after that, is a story full of suspense, mystery, and emotion that asks a powerful question. This is the theme, by the way. Can love and loyalty go beyond even this? Then I'm gonna move to another one where what's wrong here? Anis. Anis, are you with me?
Yes, Mr.
Perfect. And that's what I mean by plot again. Yeah, this is very important, by the way, my dear boy, and you know that well. Yes, what I mean by plot?
It is the series of events in a work of fiction.
What I mean by exposition?
Exposition, it provides background information that begins the setting, characters, and sometimes the conflict.
We mentioned that before in the exposition, we have three things. The beginning of the story, you have to mention the main character, the setting, and the conflict even, right? And the setting, it includes both time and place. What I mean is by rising action.
It introduces or develops the conflict.
Good, good. I'm gonna move from action number one, action number two, number three, till I get to the climax. What I mean by the climax, let's see.
It is the point of greatest tension, and it is when the conflict is resolved.
Yeah, it's resolved at the end till I find the falling action. What I mean by it?
It draws the story to its
yeah,
closure.
Yeah, to the end of it. After that, I'm gonna move to the resolution. What I mean by it?
The resolution, it is the final outcome of the story.
Outcome, it's like the result, okay? Also that foreshadowing, I mentioned that before, it's very important to me in the exam. Yes, what I mean by foreshadowing?
It is a hint about something that will happen later in the story. It is used to build excitement and curiosity.
This is very, very important with you boys. Imagery, the last one, what I mean by it?
Imagery. A writer uses vivid words and phrases that appeal to one or more of our senses to help you imagine the funny scenarios in a story.
You can even, by the way, highlight the parts I have here, or I have highlighted here for you. Okay. Thank you so much here. Thanks. Moving to another one, I think this time it will be has it. Has it. Hazem? I'm running out of time, by the way.
Yes,
Thank you, my dear boys. Okay. Hazem, right now we're gonna move to the elements of a short story. One by one, read for us. The first one.
is a work of short fiction that centers a single idea and can be read in one sitting.
Yeah, in one sentence. Good. Number two.
It usually includes one main conflict that involves the characters and keeps the story moving.
But we mean here rising actions, by the way. Okay. Number three.
It includes the basic elements of function,
What are
plot,
they?
character, setting, and theme.
This is very important. Number three here is very important because here I have the basic elements of fiction. I have four: plot, group events, characters, setting, and theme. The fourth one, Hazem.
It may be based on real people and historical events.
Thank you so much, here, Hazem. And all of that was explained before in the class. Thanks a lot, here, Hazem. I hope that we have time to finalize the whole sheet today. I have right now Karam. I don't know which Karam is doing. From Samir or Samh?
Samih.
Okay, Karam, Samh. Karam, this is your turn for the summary for this short story, man. You gotta read for us, please.
Lob's tale is a story about loyalty, faithful, or devotion. Lob, a German shepherd, becomes attached and attracted to a young Sandy Pengelly. Accepting this fact, Lob's owner, Mr. Dodsworth, gives the dog to Sandy for 9 years. Sandy and Lob are constant friends. Then one night, Sandy is hit by a truck on the steep hill road. As she lies in a coma in hospital, Lob turns up, appears, his whine rouses Sandy and sets her on the road to recovery. Only later it is revealed that Lob was killed in the same accident.
Thank you so much, here, Karam. Right now, I'm going to move to the question and answers. I have, as you can see here, 20 questions. Okay, that's good. Okay. Like school, by the way, I'm going to choose two. You're going to share the answers and the questions with each other. I'm moving according to the turns. I have here Karam Samir and Mohab. Karam, can you hear me?
Yes.
What about Mohab? Mohab, are you there?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Karam, you will ask Mohab the first and second question, and he will ask you the third and fourth. Yeah, let's start.
Number one, why is Sandy called Alexandra?
When Sandy is born, everyone agrees she's the living spirit of her grandmother's queen picture.
Number two, what are the family members doing when Lob first meets them on the beach?
Sandy is reading a comic. The twins are playing together. Bert and Don are painting the bottom boards of the boat. Jean is making the Christmas puddings.
Good. Now your turn, Mohab. You're going to ask 3 and 4, and Karam will answer.
What does Sandy do with Lob in their first meeting?
Sandy plays fetch with Lob.
How might this notice low gear for 1.5 miles dangerous to cyclists might be an example of foreshadowing?
This is a very important question, by the way.
The word dangerous suggests that something bad might happen on the road.
Thank you. Thank you so much, here, both Mohab and Karam said. Moving to another pair. This will be this time Muhammad Ahmed and Muhammad Ali.
Yes, Mr.
This is
Yes.
Ahmed and this is Muhammad Ali. That's me. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Muhammad Ahmed, you will start asking Muhammad Ali question number 5 and question number 6, and he in return will ask you 7 and 8.
Okay. What happens after Lob's owner takes him back to the fisherman's arm?
Lob visits Sandy's house.
How does Lob feel about leaving?
Lob is sad about leaving. His tail and ears are drooping as he boards the train.
Good. Now Muhammad Atif's turn to ask.
How do you think Sandy feels when Lob chains up for a second time?
She feels very happy, but at the same time, she's upset that she will have to say goodbye to him again.
What is revealed about Lob's character through his actions?
He is persistent and determined.
Thank you so much here, my dear boys. What I made some screenshots here of how to send it to the demonstration that I made for you, please. Okay, yes, I almost done. That's it. That's good. Now I'm gonna move to another pair. This time it will be Muhammad Hisham and Yusuf. Yusuf Abu Rad, have you read this session?
I read the book, yeah.
Okay. In this session, I mean, right? So I'm gonna move to another one, then I'm gonna be back to you. Yusuf Ibrahim.
Yes.
I need to be fair with all of you, by the way. Yes. Muhammad Hisham, you're going to ask 9 and 10, and Yusuf will ask you 11 and 12. Start with Muhammad.
What is Mr. Pengelly's concern about accepting love from Mr. Dodsworth? He is concerned about the amount of food that the Lob uses to eat. What makes Mr. Pengelly decide that Lob can stay? His daughter's swimming eyes and trembling lips make him decide that Lob can stay. Why does Jean ask her daughter Sandy to spend the evening with Aunt Rebecca? Sandy has to spend the evening with her Aunt Rebecca because she is lonesome after her husband goes out trolling. What might the description of the crash suggest? Sandy might have been hurt by the truck.
Thank you so much here, Muhammad and Yusuf. Moving to another pair. Okay. Abdurrahman Samah. Okay, you haven't shared in this session yet, I know. Hello, Abdurrahman.
Yes, Mr.
And you will ask Celine. Okay? Yeah.
Yes.
Abdurrahman, you will ask Celine 13 and 14.
Okay. What caused the accident that injured Sandy?
A truck is speeding down the steep hill. Its brakes fail and it runs into Sandy and Lob. Then it crashes into the post office.
Who is out looking for Lob?
Sandy's oldest brother, Don, is out looking for Lob.
That's good.
What happens to Sandy after the accident?
Sandy is unconscious. She is also given transfusion to replace all the blood she had lost. Her broken bones are set in boats and in slings and cradle.
Perfect.
How long has Lob been missing?
Lob has been missing since dark on the night before. It is now moon, the day after the accident.
Thank you so much here, both Abdurrahman, Sameh, and Celine. Great job from all of you tonight, as expected. And the time is for now Muhammad Sheikh and Yusuf Abu Rab. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Yusuf, you're going to ask Muhammad 17 and 18. He will ask you 19 and 20.
Where does Mrs. Pierce find?
Good, yes, yeah. Mrs. Pierce, yeah.
Mrs. Pierce finds Lord waiting in front of a hospital.
What happens when Lob whines?
Sandy sweats and opens her eyes. She says Lot's name. She is coming out of the coma. What happened to Lot in the story?
Lob is killed by a truck that hits Sandy. Don finds him and buries him at sea.
How does the setting influence the plot of the story?
The story occurs in a fishing village approached by a dangerously steep hill. Because the village is pleasant to visit in the summer, Mr. Dodsworth comes to stay at the inn, and Lob and Sandy wait. Because of the dangerous hill, the accidents occur.
Thank you so much, Yusuf Murad. Thanks a lot. As you can see right now, I have finalized and finished all the selection from which learn with the textbook and even the sheet. This session, by the way, I'm gonna join the two sessions with each others, and then I'm gonna upload it to all grade 6 after we finish today. Tomorrow we have 3 sessions. One of them will be social. I'm gonna revise on the 3 lessons for social in a session, and the other 2 will be vocabulary. Pay attention. I'm gonna make an online session before the grammar exam. There's no need to explain grammar right now. Tomorrow, 2 sessions, very important 2 sessions for vocabulary and 1 for social. And all of them will be also uploaded to all grade 6. Tomorrow, I'm going to start the first one with Unit 10. The second one, the second session with Unit 11, so A and B with everything in them. And I'm going to try also to answer tomorrow the revision sheet for vocabulary. Okay?
I have a question.
Thank you. Yes, what was it? Abdurrahman Zema? Yes, Abdurrahman. Yeah.
Mrs. Does the today's exam and tomorrow's social science exam will be in Thursday?
And I have no idea about this. Here, once I know, I'm going to send you a message. Don't ask me anything about school. I was sleeping yesterday from 9 o'clock, and when I wake up in the morning to play Fajr, I know that we have an online school. Okay? Once I know something, I'm going to tell you. Thank you so much, dear good boy. See you tomorrow. Have a nice time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.